פרשת החודש, לחודש הזה לכם ראש חודשים, שבת מברכים, Vayakhel Pekudei. We have two parashiyot we're reading. There's going to be a little bit of a delay on tefillah this week. Two parashiyot is already extra. Then Parshat HaChodesh is another 30 pesukim. And then Shabbat Mevarechim. So they're going to keep us busy in Shul, Baruch Hashem. The introduction is the concept of Shabbat Parshat HaChodesh. Parshat HaChodesh talks about the first mitzvah that the Torah should have started with. Rashi in the beginning of Sefer Bereshit says that the Torah should have started off with HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. We know that the Jewish calendar is the most unique calendar in the world. There are two calendars that are the basic for the way people structure the year. There's the solar calendar and there's the lunar calendar. Solar has 365 plus a little bit days a year. And the lunar calendar goes by months, which every month has about 29 and a half days. To total into 354, right? What's interesting is that, for example, the Arabs, that they keep the lunar, they're starting Ramadan, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, this Thursday, and they go for a week. The reason that they keep on changing with their Ramadan and their, in the seasons of the year, so they have a whole month, from Rosh Chodesh till the end of the month. They always go from Rosh Chodesh. It always starts Rosh Chodesh. So this time it's going to start Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Last year was also Rosh Chodesh Nisan. But when we have a leap year, they move a month back. Next year we're going to have a leap year, I think. So that's going to be Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet. And every time we have a leap year, they go back a month. Last year was a leap year, but this year is not. So that's why the same year, the same way it was Rosh Chodesh Nisan last year, it's going to be Rosh Chodesh Nisan this year. So their calendar, guys, is only by lunar. They have a lunar year. Other people, other religions have solar year. We're the only ones that have a solar year, that have a lunar year, but has to coincide with a solar year. How does it coincide? When is that decision made? That's made by the rabbis. It's fascinating how Hashem gave all holidays, all concepts, all Yom Kippur is based on what the rabbis say. The Gemara in Betzah brings a case that if the Chachamim decided that today should not be the first day of the month of Rosh Hashanah, they could say that Rosh Hashanah starts a day later. Remember we learned that in the Gemara Betzah? The Chachamim decided that the Edim came too late in the day. And they say Rosh Hashanah should not start today. You know when Rosh Hashanah starts? The next day. Instead of fasting Yom Kippur one day, Yom Kippur is going to be the next day. Because when it came to Rosh Chodesh, the Chachamim, Hashem gave it over to the rabbis to decide the structure of the year. When's Rosh Chodesh? When's not Rosh Chodesh? When's Yom Kippur? When's no Yom Kippur? Imagine they decided this year should be a leap year. So in 3 weeks we'll be eating chametz. Now, they decided this year shouldn't be a leap year. In 3 weeks, we're going to not be eating chametz. And if you eat chametz, it's karet. You get death, right? Who decided when Pesach is? Chachamim. Because they decided this week, this year, there's no leap year. The first mitzvah in the Torah, not only does it refer to time, but it also shows who's in control of the time. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim, this is the first month of the year. That means Hashem gave over time, that it's the most important thing in the world. I'll give you an example. I had a Rabbi, not a Rabbi or whatever, a Mashpia, Rabbi Kreiser. He once went to a yeshiva that was founded from new. And he started speaking to the yeshiva boys and he told them, all your responsibility to do in yeshiva is to be a ben Torah. Enough, thank you. To be a ben Torah. So he asked them, so they asked him, what does it mean a ben Torah? He asked the boys, tell me, what does a ben Torah mean? So one boy says he finished Shas. One boy said he mishnayot, he works on the shi'ud, he doesn't miss class. He says, boys, I'll tell you what a ben Torah is. A ben Torah is don't waste time. A ben Torah means don't waste time. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. It's an unbelievable concept that Jews have a value for time. Goyim don't have a value for time. And I'll bring you one of the clearest proofs. And I told it to Gabriel this morning. Let's say a guy studies for the bar for 4 years, goes to all the classes. And then at the end he goes for the test and he fails. What happens? Doesn't get the bar, can't become a lawyer. But if a person went and sat and learned 4 years and he gets a 65 on the test, does he get any less reward than the kid that got 100? No. If anything, if the kid that got 100 had to study 2 hours and he studied 4 hours, when it comes upstairs in Shamayim, he gets more rewarded. By us, time is a commodity. By America, they say time is money. Why? Because if you don't make money with the time, it's waste of time. They look as time as a mediator to get to a certain point. You need the time to study so you could get a degree. I need the time to study, I need the time to work to make money. But time for itself has no value. That's why they can be on the phone for hours today and nobody feels guilty. Because time is nothing. So if I'm not making money, I'm doing nothing. And nothing is being on the phone all day. Hashem gave us Torah. And the first mitzvah that she says should have started off with Rosh Chodesh. To teach us that the most important thing is time. Mekadesh Yisrael v'azmanim, and Hashem says, I'm giving over the leadership of time, of how to schedule your time, to the rabbis. And when the rabbis say it's Rosh Chodesh, it becomes Rosh Chodesh. It says, Nitkasha Moshe Rabbeinu had a difficulty in understanding the significance of the new month. Al Pi Hadirush, you could say, Moshe Rabbeinu had the difficulty understanding of Hashem saying to them, you know what? It's all up to you. When you want Yom Kippur, that's when Yom Kippur is going to be. When you decide this is Rosh Hashanah, it's Rosh Hashanah. When you decide it's a leap year, it's a leap year. the calendar, the Jewish calendar, started only a few hundred years after the destruction of the temple. For those who know a little bit history. Because even after the destruction of the second temple, there was the Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin were like the Supreme Court, Havdil Elef Alfei Havdalot. The Supreme Court decided when Rosh Chodesh should be. And at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, even after Beit HaMikdash, Sanhedrin decided they had such power. So the first lesson we learn over here is HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, that time is of most importance, and that should be the foundation of the Torah. That should be the first mitzvah of the Torah. Time. But the pasuk says, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. The only ones that start counting from Nisan is the Jewish people. Gemara brings down that there's two opinions when we start counting the new month. Do we start counting the new month from the new year, from Tishrei, or do we start counting from Nisan? When was the world created? Tishrei. When the world was created in Tishrei, that is considered the teva, that's the nature of when the new year should start. Because if the world was created then, so when do you start year one? From then. When do you count for Shemitah? From then. When do you count from Yovel? From then. But that is the natural new year. But then we have a special new year. That's HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. This is the new year for you, that we count the months. We count the months from Nisan. And it could be an explanation is that we know that there's three holidays that the Jews celebrate. Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Pesach is when Jews were born. We were born as a nation. We came out of Mitzrayim. It's like the Leda, like you were born, right? You were born means the beginning. When were the Jewish people born? Pesach. When did they become Bar Mitzvah? Shavuot. What does Bar Mitzvah mean? You have to start keeping the rules, the mitzvot. When did they get the rules that they had to start keeping it? Shavuot. What's the third monumental time of a person's life?
His wedding.
His wedding. When was the wedding?
Sukkot.
Sukkot. How do we know Sukkot is the wedding? We were under the chuppah together with Hashem. So a person has three stages in his life. The Jewish people don't go by the new year of when the year was created, when the world was created. The way they go by the new year is when they were born, when they became the Am HaNivchar, when they became the Jewish nation. When we became the Jewish nation, we started appreciating what time was, what it means to serve Hashem. If the new year would have been in Teva, in Sukkot, Sukkot would have been, okay, we're like everybody else. Hashem says no. Rosh Chodesh Nisan is HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. This is a special month just for you. It's a special first month just for you. You know why? Because Rishon Hu Lachem Lechodshei Hashana. This is when you were born. What happens in the world, that's Teva. That's nature. Jewish people are above nature. They're Am HaNivchar. Why are they Am HaNivchar? Because Hashem chose them, that we should be. Hashem gave us the merit, the love, the caring, that you are my nation. You are not a regular nation. You're not like everybody else. In the parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu calls together all the Jewish people, and before he even commands them to build a Mishkan, he tells them, you have to keep Shabbat. If you think about it, Shabbat is the most wasted day in theory of the whole week. If you look at it that you have to use time for an accomplishment, what do you do on Shabbat? Shabbat says don't drive, don't go to class, don't go to the beach, don't go to a friend's house. Shabbat says stay home. You can't walk out of Tchum Shabbat. You're not allowed to cook. Nothing. Shabbat is teaching us, the lesson of Shabbat is how important time is. Time for the sake of time. Quality time. Quality time to meditate with Hashem. Quality time to just connect to Hashem. During the week, you got to prepare shiur. It's a lot of pressure. Rabbi has to prepare. Shabbat, he doesn't have to prepare the shiur. The Shabbat class is prepared before. All he has to do is connect to Hashem. Everybody has to connect to Hashem on Shabbat. It's time well spent. Today, for example, when you have Shalom Bayit, people in their own families, there's no such a thing as sitting together with your wife without talking. Always you have to feel that you're talking. Why you have to talk for always?
They want attention.
Yes, Rabbi, they need attention.
They need attention. You want to know something? If you sit down with a person and you don't go on your phone and you eat dinner nicely and respectfully, that's the biggest attention they can get. They need attention is because you don't talk to them, you're on the phone. But could you ever just have a light conversation or sit in the car and drive and look at the beauty of nature? Why? Because we don't know what it means to spend quality time. We think quality time means only doing something. You ask kids, they go on a vacation. Some people go on a vacation, they can sit and look at Hashem's B'riyah, sit by the ocean and enjoy the water, sit and see a beautiful view, and that's vacation. But some people, they need to run around the whole time. They always have to be on action. That's why, so some people, the cell phone is Hatzalat Nefashot. It's mamash Hatzalat Nefashot. What? You know why it's Hatzalat Nefashot? Because if they don't feel that they're doing something, they go crazy. Read a book, a Jewish book, and think about life now. That's too much, too strenuous. So what do they do on Shabbat? Sleep all day. What are you showing about the time that Hashem gives you quality time? No. I have to sleep on Shabbat in order that I can run around Motzei Shabbat. Right? Why? Because by me, if I can't run around, then I have no benefit from the time. And Shabbat is a waste of time. Sing Zemirot on Shabbat. You know, people, they sing all week. Comes to Shabbat, they don't sing. Why don't they sing? Oh, they need music to sing. Why do you need music to sing? If you want to connect to Hashem, sing songs. So that Shabbat, the family is talking. You take out a Divrei Torah, you take out Parshat HaShavua. No, so what does Shabbat meal come to? What does Shabbat meal happen? Chaki balash and lashon hara, and fighting and screaming. Everybody, how many times you go to tables Shabbat? Chilul Hashem. Hashem gives you the holiest day of the week, and 60% of the time there's a family fight over there. Family fight about ideology, or some getting frustrated. Shabbat is the time when a person is HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. This shows the specialty of a Jewish person. Goy Shabbat, Chayav Mitah. He keeps Shabbat, it's Chayav Mitah. You know why? Because he doesn't have the value of time. He's going to go crazy. He's going to go crazy. He can't keep Shabbat. Doing nothing, Chayav Mitah. You know why? Because he's going to kill somebody if not. Yeah. Goy Shabbat Chayav Mitah. You know why? Because if he does nothing for one day a week, he's going to kill somebody. We have all these guys in the street over here that they don't have to work for a living. What do? Steal and kill. That's the worst thing. Goy has to work 24/7. We could handle Shabbat. You know why? Because we appreciate the importance of time. And if you appreciate the importance of time, you appreciate the importance of life. And if you appreciate life, you could sit down and just appreciate life. If life is only for what do I get out of it, that's not life. We have Shabbat l'shem Shabbat. We live l'shem living. We don't only live for what I can get out of life. I'm not working in order that I can buy a good pair of sneakers. I can buy a nice vacation. I can get a nice vacation. We work because we get rewarded for the work. You go work and you have a beautiful son that's Talmid Chacham, you help him out. So you could go get a big mitzvah. Or you could say, I'm working to make money, I want to be rich. Or I'm going and I'm supporting my children to go learn and he's a good boy. So by you working like that, every single time you go to the office, you're making a mitzvah. Every minute. Right? You support beautiful family. So or you could say, I'm working to make money, or I'm working to support my family. Good kids, Baruch Hashem, you have Mabruk, Mazal Tov, making Berit Milah, Sunday. You could switch everything. Mitzvah, big mitzvah. Big mitzvah. You know why? Because by us, time is of importance. And if you're delegating your time for a mitzvah, that is what a Jewish person is doing. He's using at his time. He's benefiting from his time. Why not? You read a biography of a Gadol on Shabbat. Even ladies, they can read Parshat HaShavua, as the Medrash says. They could say Tehillim. Whatever they understand, they could accomplish a lot. There's so many English books. There used to be Yiddish books. Now the generation talks English. There's so many English books that can teach you Yirat Shamayim today. But what? It's better to get Harry Potter, Mishugaim. Crazy people. That's what you read on Shabbat, Harry Potter, Asur. To hear somebody's stupidity. What? In the bathroom, they just don't stay too long with the bathroom. It's really. And before Moshe Rabbeinu commanded the Jewish people to go build a Mishkan, he had to tell them about keeping Shabbat. When Hashem told the Jewish people to keep Shabbat, he first told them about the Mishkan. And then he told them you have to keep Shabbat. When Moshe Rabbeinu told them, he says, Vayakhel Moshe, this is the only time the Torah says Vayakhel. Hashem took all the Jewish people, Moshe Rabbeinu took everybody together. What was the purpose of the Mishkan? V'shachanti betocham. We wanted Hashem to rest amongst us. A guy wants Hashem to rest amongst you. That's a spiritual connection with Hashem. If you don't realize how special you are, God's not coming to visit us. Hashem, people say, why doesn't Hashem come to talk to me? Why does Hashem come to be close with me? If you don't realize Kiddushat Shabbat, the holiness of Shabbat, ki oti beni uben bnei Yisrael, that's a covenant. If we don't realize that Shabbat doesn't mean only plov. Shabbat means connecting to Hashem. So Hashem says, what are you going to build a Mishkan for? You're not interested in my connection. Hashem gave us an opportunity to connect with Him Shabbat. Until today, I'm still impressed how Rav Aaron Leib Shteiman, once I was zochet to be by a Yarchei Kala in Eretz Yisrael in the Ramada, that is hosted by the Aguda, and Rav Shteiman, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, came to speak there. And what was he speaking? Could you imagine he's coming to a shul, not going to a place where the people are irreligious, they don't keep Shabbat. Every person there, all his kids were in yeshivas, all his family was Haredi, not Dati, Haredi, ultra-Orthodox. And what's he talking about? Keeping Shabbat. Keeping Shabbat. You know why? Because keeping Shabbat doesn't mean just shutting off the telephone. A person that's mekabel Shabbat a little bit early, and he doesn't run out of the shower when it's sunset, he doesn't know what Shabbat is all about. If somebody runs out of the shower 2 minutes before sunset, that means he doesn't know what Shabbat is. They say that Avni Brisk used to sit down half an hour, 45 minutes on his porch with a chumash, just waiting for Shabbat to come.
Rabbi, you should come join my Toyameh before Shabbat.
Toyameh, that's what you're supposed to, that's Shabbat. That's Shabbat, that's anti-Shabbat Toyamehs. Don't get me started with that now. Toyamehs. There's too many people here this for Toyamehs. Sickness, that's what Shabbat's all about, Toyameh. I know what Toyameh is. With the meat boards. Those are the people that want to sleep on Shabbat and they don't know what Shabbat is all about. Hashem Yishmor. Hashem Yishmor, new phenomena. People have catered parties before Shabbat of enjoying Shabbat food. And then when it comes to the meal, they're falling asleep on their wives, and they want to know why their kids don't have a value for religion. You know why? Well, it doesn't happen in Queens that bad yet. But, we're a few years behind other communities, or we'll get there. I hope not. Moshe Rabbeinu told the Jewish people, keep Shabbat. You know what keep Shabbat means? Oti beni uben bnei Yisrael. After you realize how special you are, then Hashem says, I want to be amongst you. Because I'm not coming to a person that doesn't feel that he's special. Hashem has the acquaintance with the Jewish people for one reason. Vatem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadesh. You are a unique nation. You live with uniqueness. You live with specialty. I come visit you. You don't live with it, I don't come visit you. But I want to just add one other he'ara on this concept. There's only one mitzvah that Moshe Rabbeinu singles out in this week's parasha when he discusses Shabbat. Lo teva'aru esh bechol moshvotechem b'yom HaShabbat. Don't make a fire. How many melachot are there? 39. We learned them all out of the Bet HaMikdash. Mishkan. Why does the pasuk single out Lo teva'aru esh? That you shouldn't make a fire. So the Gemara Pesachim discusses it. In length, is it lechalek yatzad, lelav yatzad? Is it to say that you're only forbidden and you get lashes for the fire? Or is it coming to say that if you did each one individually? A whole discussion in the Gemara, we're not going to get into it. But then there's another concept. Lo teva'aru esh means don't make a fire, means a physical fire and a spiritual fire. There's a lot of animosity that happens in families when they're sitting on a Shabbat table. The most challenging time for anybody to keep the peace is when there's a lot of people around. When you're going on your way during the day, your wife is doing her thing, you're doing your thing, the kids are away, homework, this, that. It's peaceful.
It's a blessing.
Shabbat, all the while your wife's nagging you. Reuven, get up, you have to go to shul, take the kids. You get frustrated, I didn't sleep a whole week, I work a whole week for Parnassah. Why are you waking me up? She says, well, you can't teach your kids like this. What happens within 15 minutes? Balagan. That's called esh. There's a fire. There's a fire that's burning. Lo teva'aru esh. B'chol moshvotechem. Wherever you live, lo teva'aru esh. In your house, in your individual house, don't make a fire. But in shul, you should make a fire. When you're praying, you should be with excitement. Hashem made a person's nature to be on fire. Now it could be on fire and positive, and it could be on fire on the negative. Everything Hashem created was for a benefit. Could you imagine people that are very emotional? Listen to me, I know what emotions mean a little bit. Take your emotions 1 week and read the Shmat with excitement and understand what you're saying. You hear, Yosef? Go say Nishmat this week with excitement, before you had the L'chaim. And take that whole excitement of your personality and say the Nishmat. Yeah. I'd say it like that. With the Tevarech Hashemcha, Shemcha Hashem Elokeinu. You know what? A person comes to that Nishmat, and he has his fire is lighting inside, he's going to get closer to Hashem, he's going to get happier. If his fire is going to be in stupidity at home, then he's destroying it. Says the Pasuk, al pi derush, not the actual type. Lo tevaru esh, don't make a fire b'chol moshvotechem in your houses, b'yom HaShabbat, in things that pertain to houses, pertain to stupidity that you get into in the house. And then you could have a mishkan in your house. Ve'asita mishkanim v'shachati b'tocham. You want to have a mishkan in the house? You want to have a place where Hashem could come in and see the Shekhinah? Lo teva'aru esh. Hashem doesn't come if there's fire in the house. If there's fire in the house, if there's stress in the house, that's not where Hashem comes on Shabbat. It's a big challenge sometimes. Person has a situation that two people are fighting right in front of him. Or somebody's calling you out. And you have to shut your mouth. It's not easy. Somebody calls you out, the natural instinct is respond, right?
Give it back to them.
You give it to me. Okay, you could give back double. I'm scared to start up with you, plus it's not worth it. But if a guy goes, and then if you give double back, they give triple back. And then it's a ping pong session. And then Hashem says, I'm not interested in this house. Everybody's olam katan, everybody builds their own mishkan in their house. If you want Hashem to come and be a part of your mishkan, it has to be with tranquility. Without fire, without lashon hara, without self-centered character. Ego causes the biggest wars in the thing. And what do you get out of it? Goonish, nadi.
You lose parnasa.
Parshat HaChodesh teaches us the importance of time. Hashem gave us a matana tovai bebet genazai. I give you a gift. A gift. And what do we do with that gift? Waste it. We sit and sleep and sleep and sleep and eat and sleep and waste it. Matana tovai bebet genazai. The only time you must come to Shachrit on time, Shabbat morning. During the week, my kids, my wife, everything. Shabbat morning, there's no school, there's no buses, there's no nothing. Come.
That's what they make shachas, 10 o'clock in shachas. Everybody comes.
Where's 10 o'clock shachas? That's for the people that need to be out by 11:30. The people that start at 9 at the same time as the people that start at 10. Person has to know, we have the yesod of this week of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodeshim. It's the beginning of the month. You know why? To teach us that we live with time. We value time. We're B'nai Torah. We know what time is all about. We don't sit and waste time. We have a Shabbat Kodesh. We don't waste the Shabbat. And when we don't waste it with stupidity, then a person feels that sense of worth. Hitchachut. What does it mean? Chadash, new. When you have an old suit, you don't have a value for it. Rosh Chodesh comes from the word of chadash, new. You get a new suit, you're happier, right? You have the same suit you wore for 4 years. When you put it on, do you think about it even to the feet? Say no. When you get that new suit, you feel a sense of worth. A person has to feel on the Rosh Chodesh the sense of worth that he has the opportunity to boost himself. Hashem should give us all the koach. Then now that we're going into Pesach, the holiday of Pesach, which that's the time when the Jewish nation was born, that we should value what we are. Don't look at ourselves that the same way there's Supreme Court, by them we have Supreme Court. By us, Supreme Court is without any negiyot, no personal gains, no personal ideas. It all comes from Torah, comes from Hashem. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim Vayakhel Hashem Moshe Rabbeinu took everybody together. So we must keep Shabbat. Keep Shabbat is OT. Could you imagine you make a peace treaty? You know what OT means? We sleep on it. What kind of peace treaty is that? Hashem, we have such a good connection to you. Every time you come visit me, you know what I'm doing? Sleeping and eating. God, not now. Come later. When's later?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. When will you get it for Minha? We should be zocheh to feel the hitchachut of HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim, the Kedusha. And then once we value time, everything that we do has a benefit. And the Kiddush Hashem. Shabbat Shalom, U'Vorach, Chodesh Tov, U'Vorach, Rabbi